Okay, cool. Right, this is John here from Peach Guitars. I'm here with our good buddy, Nick Johnston.
Hey guys, John. Good to see you again.
And you, my man.
Last time I was here, it was at the old location, and I remember you guys made me a fantastic cup of coffee.
That was one thing. If you don't know Nick Johnston that well, you know he loves playing guitar and he loves drinking coffee.
But even more than that, he loves drinking coffee.
Exactly,
yeah.
exactly. Do you do anything apart from that?
You know what? No.
Well, that's fine.
I read books, I play guitar, I sit on airplanes, I sit in airport lounges waiting for the flight.
Nice.
I wait in line a lot, and I sleep in uncomfortable bus beds. That's what I do, that is my life.
So one
like great life.
No, absolutely. If it's paying the bills and you're playing your guitar, then
it's
what
paying
do you want?
something.
Paying something, yeah. Well, I'm sure we can help contribute to that tonight somehow. So, for everyone watching this, our demo evening clinic, whatever you want to call it, is tonight with Nick in association with Schecter, and obviously Nick's going to be using the Mesa Boogie as well, the Triple Crown, isn't it, that you use? The TC50. This is your new signature guitar as well.
I find this amp really simple. For me, I used to be terrified of boogies because there was options and things on concentric dials and things that did things. Something like this, it's a little bit more straightforward, more of the amp I kind of grew up playing, which is more like the Marshall style.
Yeah,
I guess.
It's definitely got that going on, but it's got that boogie sort of thickness.
Exactly.
To it, hasn't it?
Yeah. So I'll just play for a minute.
Yeah. And actually, was using your hair there to bring out some extra harmonics.
Oh yes, of course.
The 12th fret.
It's my new technique that I'm working on.
That's it. I was watching this thing with Billy Gibbons and Queens of Stone Age once, and he was doing this thing, and the beard hit the harmonic.
Yeah, I'm not there yet.
No, not quite, and I'll never be there. That's for sure.
Damn it.
But there you go. I'll try and look nice and young forever.
That's right.
But there you
Pulling
go.
it off.
So we're on to the new signature guitar.
Of course.
For this year.
This little thing I'm playing here. So this is technically version
3.
3, yeah, version
3-ish.
Version 3 and a bit. So this was the okay. I'll tell you the whole story. So,
how did you end up with Schecter?
That's a great.
And one thing, we're cutting across here. One thing I asked Nick about earlier was kind of how did you end up playing this style of guitar when so many of his peers and guys that I often see you playing with out on tour are using 78,000 frets and many strings and all this kind of thing, and guitars underneath their neck like that. But how did you end up with this guitar?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'll try and do a relatively clean version of the story. I started playing when I was 13 or 14, and the reason I got into playing guitar was my neighbor. When he moved, I was living in the same place. When he moved in, he was 14, I was 13. And when you're 13 and you meet a 14-year-old, if the schooling system is the same year, that's a different. At high school, it's a great school.
Absolutely.
So that's 1 year different, but it's not. It's it's a different universe. He maybe had a little bit of chest hair, maybe he had a girlfriend. Yeah. Maybe he was going through like some pretty heavy puberty, so he had a different hey man, what's up? Yeah. And I was just like this little kid, like, oh yeah. And I heard him playing through his basement window. It may have been something like Blake 182 or something, or I just thought at the time, holy shit! Yeah. And I worked at the Courage. I went over there and asked him, "Can I watch you play?" And he had a Squire Squire Strat. Yeah. Sunburst, two-tone Sunburst. I remember it completely, 100%. The weather of the day. I remember everything. Yeah. So I went home.
Seminal moment.
Yeah, and I kind of begged my parents, and this was summer vacation of year 2000. And I had to beg them for a whole year because I had been notorious for starting things and stopping things. I was into skateboarding, I played hockey for a long time, baseball, you name it. And they're finally like, all right, we'll buy you a used one, just shut up. stop bothering us with this. And I got a red Squire Bullet. It was 90 Canadian dollars, which is like 2 pounds.
Yeah.
And I had a used Fender Frontman 15R.
Yeah.
It had the reverb. And that was my rig for years,
Stickler for
man.
reverb.
Yeah, for like 3 years or so. My rig. I love a rig, guys. So I played that guitar, and I just kind of got used to the sound of you know, the noisy pickups, the single coils. I got used to that thinner kind of distorted tone.
Yeah, loads of attack.
Yeah, and that just became, like, that's what I associated electric guitar with.
Yeah.
And then I got a Mexican Strat after that. I saved up a bit. And then I actually got away from the Strat for a minute. I bought a humbucking guitar, and I didn't sound good on it.
No.
I'm like, the thing I liked, though, was all the dive bombs.
Yeah.
Because I was a big Eddie Van
Yeah.
Halen fan. But eventually I was playing with bands, and they're like, you don't sound as good on that guitar. So I changed over to, I got another Strat. I was playing those for years. I had a custom shop Strat. I had a very nice collection of Stratocasters. And I was like, who could possibly make a better guitar than this? This is as good as it gets. And they are great. If anyone has played a Fender custom, those are amazing guitars.
Absolutely.
So Keith Merrow, who was a Schecter artist at the time, and a guy named Jeff Loomis, who was also a Schecter artist, they emailed Schecter on my behalf. They just put the word out. They're like, you should talk to this Nick guy. He's starting to pick up some steam. I had just put out my third album, Atomic Mind, and people were starting to kind of get into what I was doing. So Schecter reached out and they said, we're going to send you something similar to what you're playing. And that was a black, it's called the Traditional.
Yeah.
Which was as close as to the guitar that I was playing at the time. And it showed up, and I remember I left it in its case. I didn't touch it. I was too afraid. I'm like, I'm probably going to hate it. I'm not going to like it. And it's not. I had brand loyalty blinders on at that time.
No,
right?
of course.
So anyways, I got an email. He's like, have you opened it? Like, you got to try this guitar, or send it back. I guess I should try it. Within minutes, I was like, this is ridiculous. It was like the perfect modern version of what I was playing.
And that was a 3 single coil.
That was pretty much the off the shelf. It's still custom shop. If you went on their website and looked at a Traditional, that's the guitar I was playing. And then the big test was, okay, we're going to do these guitar clinics because they wanted a new guy to help kind of push the custom shop. Yeah. Will this guitar do well in different climates? Because I've had guitars, really nice guitars, even though they're $3,000 guitars, Canadian dollars, they just wouldn't stay in tune, or the neck would shift, or the weather, because I live in Canada, it's either too cold or it's too hot,
of course. Humidity
much like here, it gets hot, like thick, right, muggy. So the first thing we did was we went to China, then we went to Taiwan, then we went all through Europe, did some Canadian stuff. So every possible climate, neck didn't move, didn't break a string, nothing happened. And that was the big, okay, I can use this guitar. Because at that point, I was starting to get busy enough to where I didn't want to have to bring a bunch of shit with me on the road. Yeah. Can I have one guitar that does everything? And then it went so well, they thought, well, if you're doing this and we want to push the custom shop, let's roll the dice and we'll do a signature model.
And those guys, they're not just like another custom shop that started out. I did an interview with them a couple of years ago at NAMM, and some of the guys that work there
with
are
John,
kind of with all the guys, and there's just they are like the rock and roll royalty of people that started other guitar companies and worked in other custom shops, and they are a true kind of traditional custom shop, as it were. They've got guitars in a custom shop lineup like these ones, and some of the other guitars that we're going to be showing off tonight. Like some of the Martin Knopfler inspired guitars and things like that. Yeah. Even the Sinister Gates ones that we've got.
Well, they're a really progressive company. I mean, you look every year, their lineup for whatever 2018 or 2017. I remember the first year I was with them at NAMM, they had like 33 new models. Like what company? And the reasoning for doing it?
More for us to order. Fill up the order book.
The reasoning is just because, like, let's just try stuff. Yeah. And that was with me. Like, let's just try it. And if it doesn't work, whatever. We tried it. Thankfully, it worked. And then I had them. I didn't have them, sorry. They were very kind. They said, we want you to build anything you want. So come to the custom shop, pick something off the wall, and we'll build it. So the first thing I did was there was a Wenge neck they had up on the wall. Yeah. And I had this beautiful neck, and I was like, what am I going to do with this neck? What are we going to pair it with? And I remember after searching through the shop, I put it up against every color you can imagine. They had an old body from the 90s laying in a box. And I'm like, what's in that box? And we pulled this we're calling it Atomic Green. It's this little theme we've got going on. We put it up against that, and it was like, holy shit. It's like this chocolate mint kind of feel to it. And then that went up. I put a picture of that online just as a one-off, and people went absolutely insane. So this guy came out a little bit after that.
And this one's got a real incredible...
Yeah, if you can see the grain on that, I mean,
It's some real sweet fingering on it.
I want that. And it's a pretty nuts and bolts. Like it's a simple guitar.
Yeah.
It's 3 single. That's the model of pickups they make for me.
Again, we was talking about again you've gone for like 3 single coils, no humbuckers. It's
master tone, master volume.
Yeah, it's a pretty simple setup.
It's just it's the neck that's kind of the centerpiece of the guitar. It's a very modern. It's a 14-inch radius to 25.5-inch scale. Lock and tuning heads, ebony fretboard, Wenge neck. The cool thing, it's got the Tusk nut too, so it's like that self-lubricating.
Yeah.
I've never broken a string. That's the one from last year. So the truss rod adjustments in the traditional spot, whereas the new one, the palette swap, it's down here now, and I've switched back to the kind of classic.
It kind of works with that.
I think it does, and it just again, it kind of reminds me of playing guitar when I was younger, just like the look of it, even though it's just 2 instead of the 3. And it weighs very little. It's very light guitar.
And you found that these necks have been super stable.
Very stable, yeah. I get asked all the time if it's a tone thing. No, it's just it looks awesome.
There is nothing wrong with the truth, and it does look awesome.
I mean, I would never try and come up with a fake reason why I put something on here. It's things I like, and for whatever reason, people seem to be into. And massive frets too, like really tall frets.
The Jessica, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. Trying to get the biggest fret, so you get those massive. Massive vibratos. That's kind of the whole thing with my playing, is like doing those massive bands, and there's much real estate up here for all the cartwheels and stuff.
Who was your sort of your big influences then when you started? Because you kind of blend so much when you play. You know, I think sometimes I'm like, wow, he's nailing like some, you know, Stevie Ray, and then it's like, oh, Al Di Meola or something like that. You know, Petrucci, whatever.
Really
you know?
big into Yngwie for years. I loved Stevie Ray Vaughan. Of course, you heard that. Eddie Van Halen. I liked Van Halen because he was kind of like sloppy, and he just
rocking and rolling, and a real bitey tone in it as well. Still.
And Jeff Beck and Jimmy Page and Brian May. Like, I guess I'm a product of
just the classic
70s and 80s guitar players, and that was the stuff I grew up listening to, and that was the stuff my dad listened to. You know, David Gilmour and a lot of King Crimson and Genesis, like all that stuff that was just always playing in the background. I mean, there's a lot of great players now. I mean, technically, from a technical standpoint, just the sheer amount of arpeggios and techniques that are available
when I go on that,
it's a different animal. But
on Instagram, you know, when you look on the magnifying glass, the search thing on there, and I see a few of these videos. I check that guy out, and this 14-year-old guy in there. It's just,
but I mean, for me, it's the difference was a lot of the guys I was referencing, they sounded like themselves.
Yeah,
and that
of course, yeah.
But they're, you know, it's different time, for sure.
Completely.
So, yeah, that's where a lot of that playing kind of stuff came from, and the gear is just inspired by my favorite players, but also just keeping things simple. I plug straight into an amp. I don't use any pedals. I use a 0.8 Dunlop pick.
It's not even super thick, is it, on there? What, you using NYXLs?
NYXL 10 gauge strings, so tuned down to E flat. Just again, favorite players, but also a little bit of a hand issue in the past.
And it gives you a bit more.
Like there's more weight to it, you know. Sounds heavier, even though I'm still playing the same kind of shit.
And with the, I noticed you keep the trem arm out.
Yeah,
stop yourself getting in trouble.
Yeah, I used to use, like I was saying, the humbucking guitar for about a year or so, and I was doing all sorts of dive bomb things. And I had a buddy that I used to play with all the time. I'd play something, and everything I would end with a thing. He's like, "You sound bad. Don't do that." So I got rid of it, and I bought another Strat again. And I noticed if you just have it floating a little bit, you can kind of grab it and. I just find that really.
Yeah. And you could, it's another thing as well. When you came in last time, and I looked at your guitar, I was shocked at how high the action was.
Yeah.
Is that something that you've kind of consciously tried to get it?
Well, you can't bend with low action.
Even on those sort of really flat radiuses like this.
Yeah.
I was really surprised because I thought, they're going to be on the strings, you know, with your legato technique and everything. I thought, that's going to be just touching. But I was shocked.
Like,
I was a bit disappointed and sad.
I was
like, that's not easy to play.
No, I think to really get a good vibrato out of the guitar, it has to be relatively high. And also, I'm left-handed, so I could hit it a little bit harder.
Acoustically, the tone of the guitar, and you can just hear it. It's got a lot of weight to it anyway.
You can't really do much of that, the bending stuff. If the action's too low, you won't be able to get another string. And that also comes from just, you know, if I'm in a different headspace, or if I want to use a different amp sometimes, then the amp will sound like shit if you got the super low strings. And if your frets are high and you got low action, it's just a bad combination.
If it's a good amp, you know, with a good guitar, you can EQ it and get it right.
Exactly. So,
no,
I
it's
don't
cool.
really think too much about that, and it's one of those things too. I guess it's like the pedals. It's just like whatever's here, I make it work. I try to make it work anyways, you know.
Yeah, that's another thing we were talking earlier as well. I've seen you use a Kemper and stuff like that.
Yeah, I've used it at home in the studio. It's just easier sometimes to get a direct tone in your computer speakers. You don't have to worry too much.
And with your like recordings and albums and things like that in the future, are you going into studios and doing stuff, or are you
always?
You never.
And that's just a work ethic thing. Like, I know I'll do
a
better job if I have
in
a confined. Here's a 7-day block with an engineer, and here's your gear we've set up in another room. Get it done, as opposed to you have endless time at home
and tweaking.
I don't want to tweak. I don't want those endless months. I want a hard deadline, and I want to have to spend money that motivates me. Like, get this done, or else you're bleeding cash. It's like, oh shit, I should get that.
So what is the status with albums? What's What's up and coming next from you?
Up and coming, I've just finished writing, demoing, and sending the next album off to a few musicians that are going to play on it. I've got a drummer from Germany named Benny Greb, like a jazz kind of fusion drummer. He's playing on that. The keyboards are all going to be done by a guy named Eric. I think it's pronounced Gunthe, from The Contortionist, it doesn't matter, from an American progressive band. He's playing all the keys on that. I've got a buddy from the UK, got Jake Galvin playing bass on it, and I'll handle everything else. Yeah. And I'm going to do it with, in Calgary, I'm going to engineer the record with my friend Scott Giffen. He did Remarkably Human at the studio in Calgary. I'm going to fly there for like a week, and we're just going to knock it out of the park. And then I've got this new artist I'm working with. I've never worked with a different artist. This guy from Toronto named Victor. He's just an amazing, there's like this weird kind of Pink Floydish sci-fi concept art, so it'd be cool. It's done, just gonna record in August. Is it his sort
of kind of project then, or he's got you in to play on it and stuff, or is it kind of a collaboration?
It's more of a collaboration, yeah. Cool. So this should be, hopefully, the first single will be out in the fall, maybe November. And I'm not on a label, so I can do whatever the hell I want, but I'm trying to get it out for January.
Yeah, cool. Just in time for NAMM.
Just in time for NAMM.
Will be a new
guitar,
there before,
another tour, and just you repeat
another new guitar, did you say?
Oh, for sure. Every
Absolutely.
year. There will be a new guitar every year, I guarantee you.
No, that's
we don't know what it'll be yet, but it'll be something.
Do you think it'll be one of those in maybe a different colour?
Maybe a different colour, maybe
like four
we'll
single coils.
Something. Yeah.
One even closer to the bridge.
We'll have one right here, sliced somehow in there, a sustainer or something.
Yeah, but you feel like you're getting kind of everything that you want out of you.
Yeah,
it sounds great.
Exactly. Yeah, it's funny because it's like the new guitar. Every time you do a new guitar, it's not because it's not like, oh, I didn't get what I want. It's just, let's just see what else we can do. Let's see what we can come up with. And Schecter's a great brand for that because they actually want me to do that. They say, like, what do you want to do next? I'm like,
rather than, what's that?
Exactly. I guess I could walk through the pickups real quick.
Yeah,
if you want to what's going on.
Let's just hear some more playing anyway. Let's do it.
So there's actually a good use of that, of the my Van Halen kind of.
Yeah, we spit that kind of Jeff Becky type sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a harmonica or
slide,
a fake
almost, fake slide thing.
So I'm into all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Anyways, so these are supposed to be more of like a lower, getting slightly hotter as you go back.
But when you just jump to that, it went into there instead of going all the way up. It's still got the.
It's kind of silky.
Sometimes they drop out in those positions.
I mean, if I just play. Let's turn the volume up a bit more. Totally different, really. Harmonic there?
Yeah, you gotta get the hair harmonic.
There it is. It's a cool sound.
Yeah, really cool. And
Nice.
that, that back pickup's like just not head slicing, is it? It's
No,
got that bite,
no,
but it's
not at
not.
all.
It's just not painful.
It's great. It's yeah, I'm very, very, very
And all
proud
these
of it.
pickups available to buy separate.
It's a set.
As well?
Yeah, you can get them. Individually, I don't think you can.
Yeah, but
It's
as a set. You can buy
as
them
a set.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You can buy the NJ Atomics. They're called.
Excellent.
So, yeah.
And it's just standard kind of Schecter
Standard
stuff.
Schecter bridge and the
they hip
the
shots,
tuning
aren't
heads.
they?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
like a
exactly.
hip shot
So,
slash thing. Well,
exactly.
well, we're almost getting ready for the big evening clinic slash demo thing, whatever you want to call it. I think you should just place them on it. I'm going to get out of the way,
I will
and I'm
play.
just going to watch you play.
Cool,
Now,
man.
everyone's probably sick
Thanks,
of my
John.
ugly
I'm
face.
I'm just kidding.
Put it there.
Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks for having me in here.
Let's give it
Bam.
one of those
Oh
as
my
well.
God.
Let's give it a come out.